Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. This is Mr. Khan from Pakistan. Today we have shared a hooking source for you all to use. This video is accompanying that source to teach you how to compile and add other hooks inside it. Okay, this is the hook source that you will get from us, which is already public, and by default you will see only these two folders. And this pad file you can also get inside the group only. It is not for public. Also the main file is here. Open this file with Notepad. You don't need Android Studio because it is too slow to work. When the library is attached inside the game after loading, it calls the attribute constructor, and then it calls a thread. We have written a thread here. The hack thread is called here. After that these things will run here. This thing we wait for target library. What is the target library? Here we have added libuE4. Don't change it because we want to make sure that all libraries are loaded. When libuE4 is loaded, before it is loaded, every other library inside the game is already loaded. libnox is loaded, libnort is loaded, libcrashsite is loaded. All of these things are loaded. So we want to keep it like this. When libuE4 is loaded, after that these things are applied. The crash fix offset is applied on libnort in this address. Actually the address is 2172, but since this is a thumb, this is a thumb instruction, so for thumb we add +1 here. Okay, how do you know if an instruction is if a function is a thumb function or an arm function? Go to any function, for example this 94B38, press Ctrl+G and see here in value, if this is 00 it is arm, if it is 01 it is thumb. So an example of thumb instruction set in a function is this function. This is a function basically, but the game has not identified it. We press P and the function is identified automatically. Similarly, there are other functions like if you go here 847B2 for example, this is a function, and if you see this function Ctrl+G, it will show you 01. So it is a thumb mode function. Also a thumb mode function can be identified with these dots here, push dot w something. Also the size of the instruction is usually less than 2 bytes most of the time, 2 bytes. Okay, so this is how you identify a thumb instruction. So if the instruction set in a function is thumb mode, you just add 1 to the offset and then add it here. So the original function is E2172 inside libnort. We add 1 here and then it will not crash the game. Okay, this function itself causes sleep. Basically this function is related to socket communication inside libnort, and we make it lag for 166 by 24 days. 166 divided by 24, 6 days. It will not crash the game if the game runs continuously for 6 days. After that it will maybe crash. Anyways, this is the main thing for memory interban. Some people are still using it, so we just add it as an example. Return 0 is not a good idea because instead of that you can just write 0000 A0 E3 1E FF2 FE1. But this return 0 can be converted to a smart method, which we will discuss inside the group, not in this video, so that this return 0 is not visible in IDA when somebody wants to reverse this library. And that is of course if you have not applied any kind of OLLVM or any other type of obfuscation and protection mechanisms such as opaque predicates and other type of spaghettification. Spaghettification will change a simple function into multiple type of functions, and in the low-level virtual machine methodology we call it flattening pass. Okay, we will talk about this later. For now you have to know the main thing that you will be working in the group for this week is this function 67CFC. And since you already know now that it is a thumb mode instruction, so we have added +1 here. And if you go to the function here, this is the hook, this is the backup of the hook, this is the original hook that we are going to apply, and we are searching for SRP, CS3 and scan1, these hooks. And when these hooks are encountered inside the game, they will be blocked and the control will be returned 0. Otherwise those other threads will be allowed. So if you go to IDA and if you jump to 67FC, no sorry 67CFC, I always get it wrong. So if you go to this thread and you see that the second parameter is the name of the thread here, and if you return 0, this will indicate that the table is ready and the thread is running. So when we apply return 0, it is actually returning from here, and this else section is not running. Okay, if you return 0 from here, so it means that there are two type of returns, because we have analyzed these functions and we know that if you go to here, the result is 0, the result is not modified in between these functions. So it means that it will return 0 here, it will return 0, and it will come back and return 0 from here. So this thing sub68T0 is always returning 0 from here, and it would mean that the thread is running. This thing starts the thread. Okay, this is the thread starter function. Okay, thread starter function. Anyways, most of these things are obvious. So if the thread is not started and it is not equal to -1, then we return 0. And if it is equal to -1, if we return -1 from here, the game will show error and then the anti-cheat will be triggered automatically. Anyways, we are talking about this function, prepare and start thread. This is the 67FC function, and we have to find out, filter, and find a better combination of strings like these. Basically we will call it thread names, name of the threads, to block them in order to make our game 100% safe. On our Unity anti-ban, you already know that we post offsets in our public channel sometimes, but some things we keep private. You already know that every season we post on hidings always. We don't post below diamond. We always post above dominator, above master, sometimes in conqueror, because our customers are not online. Most of our customers are offline. We don't like them to post anything to us directly. So you already should be aware of the fact that we have a certain combination that works for us. Similarly, many bypass users and developers, you can see they have a certain combination of the names of the threads here that makes their bypass completely safe for them for some time. Maybe some people are facing problems in the magic bullet side, some people are facing problems with investigation, some people are facing problems with one-day ban, some with termination after reports. All of these problems can be 100% solved with some combination of these thread names. This combination you have to find out. What will be the mechanism of that? When you apply this library, how do you apply this library? Let's go first in detail how to compile this. You already made the hooks for yourself. Open this with Notepad++ and just paste your NDK path here. For me, the NDK is in this location. If you don't have Android Studio installed and inside the SDK manager you did not install the NDK yet, please install it from the SDK manager of the Android Studio, or you can also download it independently and paste it in somewhere in some location in your drives in your PC. After that, when you extract that zip file, you should give the location of the ndk build.exe. This thing you can, if you have everything search installed, you can see that for me it is in the 25 version, the 21 version, and the 21.0 version, which I have already installed in the ndk side inside my Android Studio. But I don't like to work in Android Studio because it is too much slow and lagging, and it takes a lot of CPU resources, also a lot of RAM usage. It is a poorly optimized program. So I prefer this method. Just paste the ndk path here and go to the compile. So just open command prompt with administrator, and you only have to do this compile.bat. So what it will do is it will combine all of the sources into your library name. Hence here we have the igshare name. Right now it is compiling for 32-bit Android, and after this for 64-bit Android it will be compiling after that. One of the user have posted a 64-bit version of this source recently, so that could also be helpful for AIDE users, but they should be aware of the fact that they should check the settings inside their compile. They should be in debug mode, first thing. The second thing, the minimum SDK version for compilation should be 25, which is Android 7.1.1. The maximum SDK version for compilation should be 32 or 33, which is Android 11 or 13, 11 to 13, somewhere between there. And the build tools, the Gradle build tools should not be latest versions, because it will cause conflicts and problems in some portions of the code. So the build version should be the same one which is by default set up in this project. If the AIDA or Android Studio asks you to update Gradle, do not update it. After compilation is finished, you will see this CRC manipulator function. By the way, the libraries are compiled here in these two folders. This is for the 64-bit version of the game, and this is for the 32-bit version of the game. So come here to the CRC, open the GUI version, okay, and you see I have already opened it here. You just give it the path of the 32-bit library libigshare, and then I have given it the path here, this folder, hooks unity here. It will save the patched library here, and this is the libigshare 32-bit CRC32. So we just apply patch here. Library for us is created here. After that, when we start our emulator, GameLoop or LD Player or whatever emulator you have, and if you are experimenting on the mobile side, you don't need emulator or the bat file for pushing the library. So we start our library from here. The ADB locate will give us the output from the library. The library is pushed inside the game here. You can see the library is pushed. After that, the log will show us like Rising Stars library ready, and whatever the hooks you have applied, they will show you exactly what is happening. All right. So this is a pretty much straightforward hooking template for you. So you see all of these threads, some are being allowed and some are being blocked. What you can do here, I will exit the game because I have not logged out my ID. So just copy all of this from here and maybe paste it. Suppose you get termination after some time or some other problem like ban. So all of these allowed and disallowed, they will be saved at the exact time of the termination. So if you get, for example, termination, so what you can do, or one day ban, for example, what if you get, just copy all of these, paste it in a notepad, press Alt and then drag the mouse, remove the timestamps, okay, and then just go here. And the Notepad++ is a very marvelous tool for filtering and making the life of text analysis easier for us. So we can use the bookmark feature and cut the bookmark lines which we have just found for the blocked versions of the thing, and these were the things that we have blocked. Of course, the third one which we blocked is not encountered yet, but it will be encountered after some time. So these threads are allowed. Suppose you get termination at these locations, so you can know maybe 10 threads before this or 10 threads after this, some of these threads are responsible for giving you termination. This is just a logical implication. So for example, what you can do after this, you should go and first of all use your common sense. ACE worker 0, can I block it? You can maybe block it and you can test the game. If you don't get termination with first knock or first kill, then this could be a solution. Can you block ADB? Because it is ADB, we don't need to block it. It is not related to the game, anti-cheat, etc., because the name tells us. HTTPS, it could be something related to internet, so obviously we don't need to block it. What about this? What is QoS filt? It could be quality of service filtering. It could be checking the game for its speed and the latency, which we call MS or ping. The correct name for that is latency. So it could be checking the latency of the game. What is this report back? Oh, it is so obvious. Is it something that the game is reporting back to the server? So you have to remember that the game developers are not stupid. They will not give you something so open and so easy for you to block without any kind of problem. So it is better if something is too obvious for you, don't touch it. Okay, this is just an advice. But so what can you do? You should go, for example, one of these self underscore sys. You go to the uh, you go to our main.cpp and you add another one here. Okay, so for example, just do this and add it. Okay, and then test a few games. If this becomes safe for you, let us say 2, 3, 5 games, then this should remain. Then if you get some other problem after some time, filter the thread names again. After that you will get some type of combination here. So the task for this week for all of you, before the game ends, because the season is going to end on 16 or 17 or 18, you have to find for yourself a good combination that works for you. You don't need to add any UE4 or any enogs. Remember this thing, whatever I am going to say to you in this video and in the future, you should take it as solid information source. If somebody else tells you that you should add UE4, don't add it, because I am telling you, you don't need any UE4. If somebody tells you you should add enogs offsets, don't add it. You don't need it. You only need to work in this one thing that I have shown you now. Correct? This is the task for this week now. Meanwhile, if you people encounter a good combination of set for you, the first thing you have to do is test in low ranks, then test in high ranks, then test in middle ranks. For example, you play 2 days or 3 days and you reach diamond without any kind of bans. Diamond is necessary. You have to pass from platinum 1 to diamond. If you are safe up to diamond 5, then that combination will stay safe in the next season also, and probably in the other season also after that. Okay, so I'm concluding this video now. This is enough for this. This is a very easy project, very easy to use hooking. If you find any kind of problem in applying hooks, let me give you a brief introduction once again. For example, you have an offset. Take this thing which you have here from the pseudocode. If you don't see this, just press F5. Copy this, make it here. So for example, I have edited like this. You can edit in another way, like this. This thing, like this. Then remove the fast calls from here. Then you can do like this. And then you can do like this. And then whatever is here, you can paste from here. Okay, So this is you just created a hooking mechanism. Now this is the backup and this is the hook. Okay, and how you call it, this is called as the trampoline. This is the trampoline or the hooking call. Okay, so instead of using this, by that time you should have checked that if this is a thumb function, then add 1 to the end offset, otherwise use it as it is. So it is very easy, like you press copy and you just paste the original one here, and the hooking one you need to paste it here, so like that. Okay, and when you do everything, Control S, save your work, go back to the this thing here, and you opened it already in the this thing, just do it like open a command prompt here and just press compile, simple thing. The libraries will be compiled. If there is some type of problem, for example the name of thread skin1, there are some issues, they will show you here just like in any other IDE. So obviously there are problems because the name of thread is not identified. So we can do like this, and then we can try to compile once again. So there is still a problem. The first error you should check the name of the thread skin1, skin1 srpq. There is a problem here in the name of the thread. Let's see what is the problem here. The name of the thread is here, here, a1, a name of thread a3. So this is not needed for us to, the problem is coming from here. The name of thread should be applied here. Alright, so now we can compile, and hopefully it will be fine. There is another one, old enable, so we have to remove that hook from the like this. You see, you have to rename it to the to jump to the original function. Okay, so these things, if you have a little bit of programming background, you should not find any kind of problems making and editing names of libraries. Okay, so you see only the main file has changed, so they applied the main file. It just takes 3 seconds maximum for any kind of change or hooks to be applied, and when the library is ready, you don't need to close this, you just apply patch. The new library is changed here, 708 pmc, and then this library can be pushed, and you see all of these allowed and blocked and all of these things you will see. So you can take information from here and apply it. There is no straightforward way to find out what is happening inside the game except debugging it, and that is a very pretty much advanced topic. It is not yet to be covered. We will cover it very soon, inshallah. Alright, you can close this with Ctrl+C, and then you can just double click this batch file, and this library will be pushed inside the game, and then the game will start, and then you can test it. Okay, this is enough for this week. Best of luck. We will continue our series in the first week of the next season, because these 6 days, this is the task for you to find a good combination. Each one you should find it for yourself. That is it. That is the complete anti-ban. Now in the coming days we will be covering a little bit more, a deep dive into the game to find out what is actually happening inside the game, which files are being opened, which files are being closed, what is being checked. All of these things we will cover in another video.